Hello, YouTube. Ray Burkhalter here with REI Funding Partners. We're just a little ahead of our 12 o'clock time to dive into our topic for today. This is actually our first live lunch and learn. We've done many recorded educational content pieces for real estate investors, but today, first time to go live. We're really excited about this. And just to take a moment before the actual 12 o'clock hits and we get into the content, to tell you a little bit about us. REI Funding Partners, we are a private lending company based in Alabama, and we specialize in funding buy and fix projects here in Alabama and surrounding areas. So we love what we do. We serve the rehabbing community, real estate investors, and so we love doing educational pieces like this to give back and to share from the experiences that we've had firsthand and that we've helped our borrowers get through. So looks like we're at 12 o'clock. Again, Ray Burkhalter here with REI Funding Partners. Excited to bring today's content. Let me pull that up on the screen and do a share, and we will dive right in. Okay, here we are today. So the topic for today's lunch and learn is this. We like to share pro tips with you because we've seen a lot of things that some rehabbers have done that didn't work out so well. And we've seen what the pros have done that really helped them out. And the pro tip for today on our lunch and learn is the overlooked factor on your rehab budget. If you're doing a fix and flip, then you're going to have a rehab budget, and this content's going to be important for you. But there's a critical item that many investors do miss when they're making their rehab budget and then when they're executing the project. So we're going to take just a few minutes here, not a long video, but hopefully a very impactful one for you in your rehabbing business. So what is a contingency line and why should I care? So the contingency line is the piece in the rehab budget that many investors either overlook or they don't use correctly. And a contingency line is maybe you could think about it like if you're on an airplane, one contingency is to land and the airplane lands safely. The other contingency is you have a backup plan that is a parachute that you can use if you need to. That parachute is your contingency plan for the airplane. So your rehab budget is not going to be as bad as an airplane, but it does make a good analogy there. So with a contingency line, when you're out estimating what your rehab budget is going to cost for your project, you probably already know that it's not an exact science. You're not going to get it down to the penny of here's exactly what the rehab is going to be. And even if you did predict that, that's not what you're going to end up with at the end of your project. It's just not a precise science. You can go in and try to be very, very meticulous, but you really can't just account for every single individual cost of the project and get it right. Your rehab budget is an estimate. So the contingency line is a line item in your budget that allows you room for the things that you didn't see or that you estimated incorrectly. It's there kind of like a lifeline to help you out when some rehab budget items come up and you didn't think about them. So let's look at it this way. If you see on the screen here, this is where a contingency line typically goes, and this is straight off of one of our rehab budgets that we use with our borrowers. So almost everything that we fund has a rehab component to it, and we typically are funding 100% of that rehab. So we're looking at many of these budgets, and the contingency line is right at the bottom. You see it in the yellow highlighting there. It stays at the bottom of your rehab budget, and it takes care of the things that you didn't account for above. So let's look at a couple of specifics. If you were doing the flooring in your rehab project and you estimated that it was going to be $4,000 and it actually came out to $4,800, you went over budget there a little bit. If you don't have any contingency line, then you've either got to take that out of some other piece of your budget that comes in under budget, or you've got to pay for that out of your pocket. But if you have a contingency line in your budget, you simply take that extra $800 overage and you get to apply it to your flooring and things flow forward smoothly. So that's in case of something that you knew you had to do to the property and it went over budget. There's another situation that we just pulled up on the screen here. There could be things on your rehab that you didn't account for at all. We've done rehabs before when people got in and there was either termite damage that they didn't expect at all, or they got in and the termite damage was much greater than they expected. That's just one example, but things that you don't account for, but they come up and they have to be fixed. Then you have your contingency line, you pull from that, and you're not stressed. You just use your contingency line, you fix the thing, you move forward. So now, with the understanding of what a contingency line is, how much should it be? And so, like many things in real estate investing, there's rule of thumb. So a best practice for your rule of thumb is a range of 10 to 15% of your rehab budget. Now, there's some other factors to consider. We'll look at that on the next slide, but generally speaking, that's a good place to start. So if you have a project and your rehab budget is $50,000, then a $5,000 to $7,500 contingency line item on your budget is what you would want to include. Now, when we say that money is in your budget, it really needs to stay in there until the rehab project is complete. You don't start using that money on things outside of this rehab project thinking, oh, well, that's extra money in there. Let me use it on another project, or let me use it for something else in my business. It stays there with the project to be used on the project until complete. And maybe, as you see in parentheses here, maybe even after the sale. We're going to show you a case study in a moment where you can see what we mean by that. So what are some other factors that are important to consider when we're talking about how much of a contingency line that you need? So first, the less experience you have in finding and fixing properties and being the rehabber, then the larger your contingency line should be, just because you don't have the experience to see some of the things that you will later on in your career. Things that get missed need to be covered by your contingency line. So a lack of experience gets covered in some form by a bigger contingency line on your budget. Also, the less detailed you are in creating your rehab budget, the larger that line should be. If you go to the property quickly, you look over things and you're really just estimating this much for paint, this much for roof, this much for HVAC. You can do that, and that definitely speeds things up. But the less precise you are with your pricing, the more you need to have for your contingency line. Some people like to do their rehab budgets in $5,000 chunks. So that's great. Again, for speed, you can go to the property once, get it under contract, get your budget in hand, and move on to get your loan started to buy the property. But in doing that, you just need to have a little bit larger contingency line for things that might have gotten overlooked because you were going for speed over precision. And then finally, this. We see houses come through sometimes that are 1940s, 1930s. In that case, there are always the chance that more is wrong with an older property. If you've had one that's been updated in the last 10 to 20 years, maybe not so much, but overall, older properties tend to have more structural issue opportunities, more electrical issues, more plumbing, just main things like that you really have to factor in. All right, let's take a look at a couple of case studies just to get you thinking about what we mean by this and what could happen. So, real life case study, a project that we had funded. The renovations on this one were complete. House looked really nice. Went on the market, got under contract with a new buyer. They did their home inspection. Part of that was checking out the sewer line between the house and the street where it connects with the sewer. The inspector found issues with that. And so the sewer line had to be replaced because it was failing. over $8,000 to get that done. That borrower did not have a contingency line item for that, and it was a big deal. And in fact, it was such an issue that that initial buyer walked away. Now it got under contract again with another buyer, but that 8250 had to be spent to fix that up, and so it was difficult for the borrower. It was a difficult situation, right? That didn't have to happen if it had been in the contingency line. Another quick example: real house, real deal, real borrower. Again, the rehab was complete. Everything was done. Buyers were coming through, looking. House goes under contract. Inspection period. The home inspector turns up that there was aluminum wiring in the house. If you're not familiar with that, just know that it can be a source of fire, and so it has to be remediated. And so that was somewhere around a $5,000 repair. And again, it wasn't in the contingency line, and it caused stress for the borrower. So these things really happen. You really do need money in your rehab budget for contingency. The pros do that. They know it. They have it in there every time. When people work with us, we push them to have a healthy amount in there so that it's not completely drained out. So this is the case why I said you may need to keep some money in your contingency amount until the house sells, so that in a case like this, you've got some money you can still tap into to take care of a situation before a house gets sold. So that is the heart of our content today for today's Lunch and Learn. We want you to know that we know you're out there working really hard to make your real estate investment business grow, and we are here to help. We've seen a lot of pitfalls. We have a lot of best practices to help you out as you grow. We're going to look at your contingency line and cash reserves that you have when you're funding a deal with us. Part of our term sheet shows you exactly how much of an estimate you need to have for your cash on hand to do the project and be able to do it low stress and most efficiently. And finally, we offer a max offer calculator that helps you really look over the project overall and make sure that you have a great profit margin in there for you, that you're not overpaying. And I know a lot of people out there have that. We offer ours to everyone that we work with. And even if you're considering working with us, we'll be happy to give you access to that calculator. So we're here to help you do more deals, but not just more deals, more profitable deals. Look, we funded over 350 deals here in the local area, and we're here to help you, whether we're helping you through understanding pitfalls to avoid or whether we're helping you fund your deals. REIFundingPartners.com is a great place to find us. There you will see these three buttons on the screen. If you want to reach out, Parker Grissom, the distinguished looking gentleman on the screen here, he will help you get your deal quoted. He will answer any questions you have about how private lending works and how we can help you fund your deals, grow your business, and help you do more profitable deals. So I'm up for taking any questions just for a few moments. If we have anything on the live, let me stop doing the screen share and see if there's any quick questions that we have any help with. Doesn't look like it. So I am going to wrap this one up for today. Feel free to reach out to us on Facebook if you have questions, or again, contact us, schedule a call through the website. So that's it for today. Until next time, we'll do the next Lunch and Learn soon. Till then, take care and God bless.